Welcome to the deep dive, everyone. Today we're getting microscopic. We're diving into the world of microbiology data and compliance in our digital age. It's a world where the information is tiny, but the data challenges are anything but.
Absolutely.
Imagine, you're on the front lines, right, fighting antimicrobial resistance in your lab, and you're generating terabytes, just massive amounts of genome sequences, clinical trial results, incredibly sensitive information.
Right.
You need to keep that data safe and accessible. Oh, and by the way, compliant with a mountain of regulations. It's a high-stakes game.
It is a high-stakes game. It's really fascinating how data has become just this lifeblood of healthcare advancements.
Yeah.
What we're seeing with biopharmaceutical companies, the companies that International Health Management Associates, IHMA, works with, is that every bite is critical. Think drug discovery, think clinical trials. A single corrupted file or even just slow access to the data that you need can have ripple effects throughout that entire process.
That's true. Data is king, right?
It is.
So, okay. Let's talk about IHMA. They're partnering with these companies doing this crucial research. But their data was growing at a rate that would make even a supercomputer sweat. We're talking a 12% increase annually, hitting a massive 80 terabytes.
And that's where the real complexity kicks in, It's not just the sheer volume of data, it's the layers of compliance they have to navigate.
Yeah.
GDPR, FDA standards, and each client likely has their own specific retention policies on top of that.
Oh, yeah. Absolutely.
Imagine trying to manage all of that with outdated tech that just wasn't built for this kind of data explosion.
Okay, so paint me a picture. What kind of tech nightmare was IHMA actually dealing with? Give me the gory details.
So their previous backup solution was, it was seriously showing its age.
Okay.
We're talking about incomplete backups, recoveries that took weeks, not hours or days, but weeks.
Wow.
Imagine trying to explain that kind of delay to a client whose critical research data is suddenly in limbo.
Ouch. I can feel the stress from here. It sounds like they were trying to, win a Formula One race with a horse and buggy.
Yeah.
So what was the breaking point for IHMA? What made them realize, okay, we need a serious upgrade?
When you're dealing with data that's literally shaping the future of medicine, you just can't afford to have it locked away in some, digital vault for weeks on end.
Right.
The turning point came when they really realized they needed a system that could keep pace with their growth, offer, ironclad security and compliance, and most importantly, guarantee the accessibility of their data.
So they knew they needed to level up.
Yeah.
What kind of criteria were they looking for in a new solution? I imagine they had a pretty long wish list.
Absolutely, a very long wish list. First, it had to integrate seamlessly with their existing infrastructure. They had recently transitioned from VMware to Nutanix Acropolis, so the solution needed to be flexible enough to work across those different environments.
The joys of a constantly evolving tech landscape,
Yay.
right? It sounds like they needed something that could adapt as quickly as their data was growing.
Precisely. Speed was another crucial factor. Those 2-week recovery times were simply unacceptable. They needed a solution that could deliver near instantaneous recovery. We're talking minutes, not days or weeks.
Okay, so speed and adaptability check. But I bet security was a huge concern, especially given the rise of ransomware attacks these days.
Absolutely. Their data was too valuable to leave vulnerable. They needed a solution that included immutable backups, essentially creating an unbreakable chain of data protection.
Let's unpack that a little. What exactly are immutable backups, and how do they provide that extra layer of security?
Think of it as a digital time capsule. Once a backup is created, it can't be altered or deleted, even by someone with malicious intent. It's like having a separate, secure copy of your data that's completely isolated from any potential threats. Even if a hacker got into the system, those backups would remain untouched.
So it's like having a digital fortress surrounding your most valuable information. That's a huge relief, especially when you're dealing with something as critical as microbiology data.
And that's not all. They also needed a system that would streamline compliance audits. Remember those layers of regulations we talked about?
Oh, yeah.
They needed a solution that would make it easy to demonstrate compliance with detailed logging and reporting capabilities.
So they were basically looking for a data superhero, something that could handle speed, security, compliance, and seamlessly integrate with their existing systems. It sounds like a tall order.
Yeah.
Did they find a solution that could actually do it all?
They did. And the results were transformative. But before we get into the details of their new approach, let's take a quick moment to hear from our sponsor, a company that understands the complexities of data protection and has been helping businesses navigate this ever-evolving landscape for over 2 decades.
That's right. We'll be right back after a quick word from StoneFly.com, a leading provider of data solutions designed to safeguard your valuable information and ensure business continuity. Stick with us to learn how StoneFly can help you achieve the same level of data protection and peace of mind that IHMA experienced.
You won't want to miss this. We'll be back in a flash to reveal how IHMA transformed their data protection strategy and the key technologies that made it all possible. We'll be right back. Welcome back to the deep dive. Before the break, we were just about to unravel how IHMA found a solution that could keep up with their explosive data growth while ensuring security and compliance.
It's like finding a needle in a haystack, right? Did they have to make any compromises, or did they manage to tick every box on their wish list?
They actually managed to achieve everything they set out to do. A key part of their success was really understanding that data protection is a multifaceted challenge. It requires a comprehensive approach.
So it's not just about backups anymore. It's about creating a whole ecosystem of protection. What were some of the key elements of their new strategy?
Well, they started by really digging deep into the concept of immutability, which we touched upon before the break.
Right, those digital time capsules that protect your data from any alterations or deletions. But how does that actually work in practice? It sounds almost magical.
It's actually quite clever. There are different approaches to immutability, but essentially it involves creating backups that are cryptographically sealed. Let me give you an analogy.
Okay.
Imagine each backup as a sealed vault with a unique key. Once that vault is locked, it's virtually impossible to tamper with the contents inside.
Okay, so it's like having a digital vault for your data, protected by an unbreakable lock. But how do you access that data if you need it?
That's where the magic of technology comes in, right? The system keeps track of all the keys, ensuring that authorized users can access the data when needed, while simultaneously preventing any unauthorized modifications or deletions. This provides a powerful defense against ransomware, which often tries to encrypt or delete your backups, leaving you with nothing.
That makes a lot of sense. So by implementing immutable backups, IHMA basically took ransomware off the table. But what about their other requirements? Speed, integration, compliance. How did they tackle those challenges?
They addressed those hand in hand. They embraced virtualization and cloud technologies, which allowed them to create a much more flexible and agile data environment. Remember, they had transitioned from VMware to Nutanix Acropolis.
Right, and they needed a solution that could adapt to that changing landscape.
Exactly. By leveraging the power of virtualization and cloud, they were able to create a system that could seamlessly manage and protect their data, whether it was stored on-premises or in the cloud. They essentially created a data ecosystem that was as dynamic and adaptable as their research itself.
It sounds like they finally had the freedom to move their data around as needed, like a digital nomad, without sacrificing security or compliance.
That's a great analogy. And this new agility had a direct impact on their recovery times. With their old system, they were looking at weeks to restore critical systems. But by implementing these new technologies, they were able to achieve near-instant recovery, often in a matter of minutes.
That's a game changer. I remember you mentioned those agonizing 2-week waits. It must have felt like a huge weight lifted off their shoulders.
Absolutely. And this newfound speed and efficiency not only reduced stress, but also had a significant impact on their bottom line. Every minute of downtime costs money, especially in a research-intensive field like microbiology.
Okay, speed check, adaptability check. But what about compliance? They were dealing with a whole web of regulations. How did their new approach help them navigate that complex landscape?
Their chosen solution included detailed logging and reporting capabilities, which made it incredibly easy to demonstrate compliance during audits. It's like having a meticulously organized library where every data transaction is carefully documented and easily retrievable.
So they could essentially prove that they were adhering to all the regulations without having to scramble through mountains of paperwork.
Precisely. It streamlined their compliance processes and significantly reduced the risk of penalties or legal issues. They essentially replaced a maze of complexity with a clear and straightforward path to compliance.
It's like they finally had a data protection strategy that was working with them, not against them.
That's a great way to put it. But technology is only part of the equation, you know? Implementing a new system also requires a shift in mindset and culture. How did IHMA's team adapt to this new way of managing their data?
I imagine there was some resistance to change.
Mhm.
It's always tough to break out of old habits, especially when you're dealing with something as critical as data protection.
You're absolutely right. Changing ingrained habits isn't easy. It took a conscious effort from IHMA's leadership to create a culture where data protection was seen as everyone's responsibility. They implemented training programs to ensure everyone understood the new systems and procedures, and they fostered an environment of open communication and collaboration.
So they invested in their people as much as they invested in technology. That's a crucial element that often gets overlooked.
Absolutely. Technology can provide the tools, but it's the people who ultimately determine the success of any data protection strategy.
Now, before we move on to the broader implications of IHMA's transformation, I want to take a moment to highlight a company that understands the importance of this holistic approach to data protection. Our sponsor, StoneFly.com, has been a leader in the data solutions industry for over 2 decades, helping businesses of all sizes develop robust and adaptable data protection strategies.
StoneFly recognizes that data protection is not a one-size-fits-all proposition. They offer a range of solutions, including the DR365V Immutable and air-gapped backup and DR appliance. This state-of-the-art technology can provide the peace of mind that comes with knowing your data is truly protected, just like it did for IHMA.
It's like having a team of data protection experts in your corner, ready to help you navigate the complexities and find the right solutions for your specific needs.
And speaking of specific needs, in the next part of our deep dive, we'll explore how the lessons learned from IHMA's journey can be applied to businesses across various industries. We'll delve into the broader implications of data protection in today's interconnected world and discuss why a proactive approach is no longer a luxury but a necessity.
Stay tuned. We'll be back in a flash to explore these critical topics and leave you with some thought-provoking questions to consider as you evaluate your own data protection strategy. Welcome back to the Deep Dive. We've been on quite a journey with IHMA, haven't we? From tech nightmares to data superheroes, it's amazing how they transform their approach to data protection.
Yeah, it really is. It's a testament to their commitment to safeguarding their research and their clients' trust. They recognize that in today's digital landscape, data is more than just information. It's a valuable asset that needs to be protected.
It's true. And it's not just about preventing disasters, right? It's about ensuring that you can access your data when you need it, recover quickly from any disruptions, and of course, comply with a growing list of regulations. It's a lot.
It is. It's like building a fortress around your data, but also making sure you have the keys to get in and out quickly when necessary.
Exactly. But let's be honest, not every organization has the resources or the expertise of a large research institution like IHMA. What are some of the key takeaways that businesses of all sizes can learn from their journey?
One of the biggest lessons is that data protection is an ongoing process, not a one-time project. It requires a shift in mindset from reactive to proactive.
So it's not just about putting out fires, it's about preventing them in the first place.
Precisely. And a crucial part of that proactive approach is understanding your data. What kind of data do you have? How sensitive is it? Where is it stored? Who has access to it? Once you have a clear picture of your data landscape, you can start to develop a strategy that addresses your specific needs and risks.
That makes a lot of sense. It's like creating a data map that highlights the most valuable and the most vulnerable areas so you can focus your protection efforts where they're needed most.
Exactly. And don't underestimate the importance of training and education. Your team is your first line of defense. Make sure they understand the importance of data security and compliance and give them the tools and knowledge they need to protect your valuable information.
It's like creating a data protection task force, with everyone playing a role in keeping your information safe. But let's talk about the elephant in the room, the cost. Data protection can seem like, well, a daunting expense, especially for smaller businesses with limited budgets.
That's a valid concern, but it's important to remember that the cost of inaction can be far greater than the cost of prevention. Imagine the financial impact of a major data breach or a ransomware attack that cripples your operations for weeks.
Right. It's like insurance. You hope you never have to use it, but you're sure glad you have it when disaster strikes.
Exactly. And there are solutions available for businesses of all sizes and budgets. You don't have to break the bank to implement a robust data protection strategy.
Speaking of finding the right solutions, I want to give another shout out to our sponsor, StoneFly.com. They've been helping businesses navigate the complex world of data protection for over 20 years, and they have a wealth of knowledge and experience to share.
StoneFly offers a range of solutions designed to meet the unique needs of each business, from simple backup and recovery to advanced disaster recovery and business continuity planning. They understand that data protection is not a one-size-fits-all proposition, and they take a consultative approach to help you find the right fit for your organization.
So if you're feeling overwhelmed by the ever-changing landscape of data protection, or if you're just not sure where to start, reach out to StoneFly. They can help you assess your risks, develop a comprehensive strategy, and find the right solutions to keep your data safe and secure.
They're like the data protection Sherpas, guiding you through the treacherous peaks and valleys of the digital world.
Now, before we wrap up our deep dive, I want to leave our listeners with a thought-provoking question, one that IHMA had to grapple with themselves.
Okay, I'm all ears.
What would a 2-week downtime really cost your business? Think about it.
That's a big one.
In today's hyper-connected world, even a short outage can have a ripple effect, disrupting operations, eroding customer trust, and impacting your bottom line.
It's not just about lost revenue. It's also about the intangible costs. Damage to your reputation, the stress on your team, and the missed opportunities.
It's like a hidden tax on your business, and it can quickly add up. So as you evaluate your own data protection strategy, I encourage you to take a hard look at your potential downtime costs and ask yourself, are you truly prepared for the worst?
And if the answer is no, or even if you're just not sure, reach out to StoneFly. They have the expertise and the solutions to help you build a data protection strategy that can withstand any challenge.
Well, that's a wrap for our deep dive into the world of microbiology, data, and compliance in a digital age.
It's been a pleasure. I hope you found it informative and insightful.
Remember, data protection is a journey, not a destination. Stay vigilant, stay informed, and stay ahead of the curve.
And until next time, may your data be safe and your backups be strong.
That's a wrap for today. Thanks for listening, everyone.